This thing on? It better be. Hello, boys. Hello, girls. You're now listening. If you're on iTunes, Podbean, that's what that thing is. Podbean, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio. Now it's on the RSS feed. And if you're watching live on YouTube, you're checking out Peter's live WWE Raw recap. And this week's Raw comes from Omaha. If you're a football fan. Right now the room is empty. I guess, oh, there's one right there. And we got one in here. I'm not sure who it is. I guarantee it's Ronnie. But either way, let me start off by saying the last week has been a nightmare. Okay? So, I want to talk about at first what I've been dealing with and why there was no Peter Talks SmackDown. Now, I print T-shirts. I work at a T-shirt shop, and I also print my own T-shirts. Cutthemusic.etsy.com. But I also work as a DJ, and I've been at this one club for, I would say, almost 4 years now. It's been topsy-turvy. Sometimes things been weird. Every once in a while getting paid and all that shit. But this entire week, I've been chasing down my boss to get paid. Right? And then when I finally catch up to him, he doesn't let me know what the foreseeable future is. Now, he reduced my pay because of other things, but whatever. Just come to find out the bar closed, and he didn't give anyone a week notice. He just told us that weekend that shit was closed, and I've been kind of down in the dumps about it because it's like it's affected instantly my financial situation. You know, I live from check to check, even with like the job, the DJ gig, and the T-shirts. I live from check to check. There's no leeway, and each one of the parts of those incomes are important. And that was my most, I would say, consistent one. So I tried, like just dealing and thinking about that, and then having a plan to sell some T-shirts and all that shit. Peter Talks SmackDown episode 59 fell by the wayside, and I do apologize. I do apologize, and I wanted to make up for you for an amazing Peter's Raw recap. And last week, Peter Talks Wrestling was focused around, the idea of being like the transition, hopefully in this podcast, of me being, still critical, but not as whiny and negative about the product. I got Music Destination and Ronnie and a whole host of others telling me, what I want to say, that I voiced my opinion. It's not that I was a negative Nancy, but I voiced my opinion. And I understand. I totally understand that. And I do appreciate the positive feedback. But I still feel that I could actually do this and be just as critical, be just as nitpicky, but not as negative. And I do agree that I was negative. And those who listened to last week's, monologue, I do appreciate it. But let's go into this week. Try to clear my head of all the bullshit. Focus on the good in my life. Focus on my friends. Focus on my support. Focus on some really good wrestling, some really good programming. And that's what happened tonight. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is one of the best episodes I've seen in a long time. And I'm not trying to sound cliche. Front to back, it was one of the best episodes I've ever seen of Monday Night Raw. One of the best. I'll say that. And if anyone comes up to me or it's anyone I hear online be like, yo, this show sucked. And it has nothing to do with me being, anti-negative. Like, this was a solid fucking show. And being that there's 3 weeks it was only a 3 week span between Payback and Extreme Rules. They were able to sort of crunch everything together and make it work. They've done it before and not make it work. Like that Payback, seriously, that Payback build was horrible. But I think it was a matter of going through the motions. Again, Payback didn't used to be there. It used to be nothing there. And then you just went to Extreme Rules. But they had to put Payback in the middle. Again, it was more of it went through the motions. I wasn't really happy with the build. The pay-per-view itself was really dope. Like a good version of Raw. But then the build to Extreme Rules, which before Payback showed up, was to me it was the post WrestleMania. You got some rematches, you got some new feuds, and man, it always turned out to be a really good show, and I think even more so now the show's going to be great. I think this show's going to be really great because I'm sitting here going, oh my God, looking at the show today, all of these feuds are fun. Once you think about it, they're really fun. I would say the exception of Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, it's kind of odd. It's definitely kind of odd, but for the most part, the rest of the what they have going on is really fun. Even starting from the top, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, like this is the best feud that Roman Reigns has been in, and with Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, and you got the Usos involved. It's really fun. And up to that 6-man elimination tag team match, it was fun. From the beginning of the match to the end of the match, it was very fun. You look at The Miz and the IC belt situation. Really fun. It's extremely fun. You look at Natty versus Charlotte Flair. It's fun. I'm sitting back going, man, this is fun. And honestly, tonight, the Charlotte match again probably got the biggest pop of the night. The crowd, well, not just the one-on-one match itself was something that was surprisingly over. And all I can think about is Charlotte is connecting with the fans as a heel more than ever right now, and it's a good thing. And so on and so forth. I go through the card and what we had to deal with, but we got in terms of the newer acts that normally make it to Monday Night Raw. You got no Apollo Crews. Yeah, you got no Apollo Crews, and I was wondering why they made that change or something. Maybe they had no space for him, but no Apollo Crews tonight in terms of like the new era guys that are coming up to the WWE. I guess before I go into it, looks like we got some questions or some comments or what have you. Let's see. What up? It's Jurgenot. What up? What up, Positive Peter? What up, Ronnie? Give me a minute to send you another shirt, okay? And I apologize for the issue. I don't know why that happened. Again, I wasn't sure that the maybe it was washed. Maybe you washed it hot. I don't know, but like that wasn't supposed to be that way. So you'll get another one next week. I apologize. The True Reactor. What up, Pete? I'm so surprised some jobber matches some jobbers won matches against champions. Well, to answer your question on that, I don't think it was as much as jobbers winning matches as if in WWE form, something they always do, honestly. They always try to bring up the concept the concept that the champion may lose to the challenger for the belt. It has nothing really to do with the jobbers getting wins as much as the champions losing. I'm not a fan of the champions losing. I never will be, because I grew up in a time where the champions never lost. If you were champions, 9 times out of 10 you were getting greased up to make to put over a baby face. So you were always kept strong. There was no sports entertainment to the idea that like let's draw up this drama and this doubt. Um, Paige, I wouldn't necessarily call her a jobber because she is a two-time women's or divas champion, and I'm trying to think of the other match. Um, if you're talking about our truth winning, uh, I don't even care about that feud to a certain degree. I don't even know what the hell's going on in that, so I wouldn't call that like a jobber victory as much as say they're trying to advance. I mean, they've been going at this for like 13 weeks. They're just advancing this storyline between our truth and Goldust. Uh-oh. I'm critical, but I also have to keep it balanced. Um, I don't know. I mean, again, this ain't like yee positive Peter. This is not positive Peter. I I've destroyed nights, like, but all these matches and everything, I think everything ran according to plan to build up drama, to build up suspense, to build up anticipation. WWE Payback build was so bad. It was so bad that I'm on record by saying, I mean, I watched the show anyway, but like I'd be surprised if if they didn't get any new subscribers at all going into Payback. I I'll be I'll be damned if they did, right? But this one, with all the new pieces, all the new storylines. Again, I'm not a fan of the the sort of new authority storyline, but they're not getting as much TV time as they were before. Like their TV time has dropped considerably. Now placement is still an issue, being that they were close to the beginning of the show. They didn't start off the show, thank God, but they were in there soon afterwards, and then the show ended with them. I wasn't a fan of that. I still think they can run Raw without having to have the McMahon family on for 2 or 3 segments, or even to at critical moments of the show, even to the end of the show. You had that shit go down with Jericho and Ambrose, and they could have ended it like that. They could have just ended it, but they couldn't help themselves but to put themselves on TV. But other than that, it's still good. The Drep 22, Raw sucked. I hate WWE. What's up, the Drep 22? I think the pay-per-view will be great and interesting. Yes, True React. I think, well, again, if you got the WWE Network, go back and check out the last 3 Extreme Rules shows. They were all excellent. Like the pay-per-views of the year. More than SummerSlam, because SummerSlam's last 2 years have not been good. More than Survivor Series, we know where the hell that's been. That's been in the gutter. TLC is always fun. And Royal Rumble's always fun because of the Royal Rumble, but hands down, it used to be the first pay-per-view, Extreme Rules, is always a good one. And you get some brawls in there, you get some street fights, you get some stipulation that doesn't involve a lot of outside things. They're not given like this opportunity to sort of overbook things for Extreme Rules. They just give them a gimmick, let them fight, and leave it at that. So, and you get some rematches from, again, WrestleMania, and then they sort of, by the time they get to that rubber match or what have you, and plus they've been going at it since before WrestleMania. So they're in even more of a groove. And Extreme Rules is also a blow-off pay-per-view. That also makes it nice. That a lot of storylines end. and a lot of them begin and they start rolling towards SummerSlam. So that's another cool thing about Extreme Rules. Well, Paige ain't no jobber. Nope, she sure isn't. I like the 2 week build better than the 3 week build. Honestly, I don't like 2 3 week builds. From growing up in a generation where you got like you got pay-per-views every season. Again, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, uh, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. I grew up in that time, and then when they started doing the in your house joints, they started. I don't know, just they got a little greedy, and I just can't. I couldn't deal with it, and now we're down to a pay per view every 2 3 weeks. I don't like it at all. I can't stand it honestly. The creative get complacent. Creative gets lazy. So what happens within, say, how many fucking pay per views are there? Like 15? You'll probably get like 6 to 7 pay per view builds that are actually entertaining. And then the other ones are just like dead in the water. Very much like Payback. Payback was like I think that was a 3 week build, and it ended up just being dead in the water by the time they got to it, which again resulted in a really good show. But again, like the build is as important as the big show, not 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 big show, but the big show, like the big pay per view, event special, network specials. But with that said, I'm gonna go into this show, right? It starts off, and you think, "Uh oh, here we go. Here comes the money," or like, you get first we're in Omaha, again, Omaha, Nebraska, and you think you're gonna get that, but you get Chris Jericho, which I was like, sweet, right? We don't get the same old, same old. McMahon's out there talking about who's gonna run the show tonight. Like we got past that. We actually focused on Jericho's feud with Dean Ambrose. And he comes out, and I swear to God, this is some of Jericho's best ever work. Best ever heel work. All right. Some technical difficulty right there. My shit froze up. Again, I cannot wait to get a brand new computer. I cannot. As much as I love this iPad, it does have its hangups. So I'm not even sure how this is going to get back on like the DVR. The last time I did a Peter's Raw recap, or I think it was a SmackDown, I did it live and it fucked up. I had to just take it all down altogether. Even the audio didn't go up. So I hope this one is fine. I'll find out when I get back after I finish this. But for the most part, what I wanted to say prior was, do you remember Jericho and CM Punk? And Jericho using the vice of CM Punk drinking or not, and like talking about his father, and busting a Jack Daniels bottle over his head and poured it all over him, and things of that nature. And it just seems so forced. I mean, I remember that fucking feud and hating it so much. And as much as Jericho was trying to heal it up, it just came off odd. It just came off like forced and shit, right? And I feel like him as a heel recently, going after AJ Styles, not going after Ambrose, man, you can't beat Jericho as a heel. You just can't. Before, I felt like the king of the heels in the company was Miz. I felt like he was the best, and he still is to a certain degree, like one of the more effective heels on the roster. But if you're looking at Jericho, a guy who's been heel like a good bulk of his career, and him just being able to get under people's skin and just be able to make his opponents, take them off their game. How he's able to basically make the fans so upset that you want to see his ass kicked. Again, best in the business. He's the best right now. I think this is some of his best work of all time. And I'm not saying that because it's today and it's now. I do remember the shit back in the day, but I just feel like he's clicking. He's clicking on all cylinders right now. And going up in there and with new people kind of breathes new life into him to a certain extent, right? So he's able to like fish up new material and like give people new ways to hate him more. And I crack up, man. You can't beat this guy. You can't beat it. But he shows up, he shoots on how he whooped Ambrose's ass and that he wasn't gonna show up tonight, which is always a dead giveaway. They always show up when someone says they're not there that night. You know? Like like just I would actually have more faith in the idea that somebody's not gonna show up if you just don't mention that he's not gonna show up versus you saying like, oh, he's not here tonight and whatever. But he's like, he's not here because of me. He breaks out the remains of Mitch. If you don't know who Mitch is the potted plant that was on the Ambrose Asylum. And as much as I'm singing the praises of Jericho and how much of a heel he is, I thought as soon as I saw the plant and how he shot a promo on the goddamn plant, who shoots a promo on a plant? Jericho does. But the first thing that hit me was like, that's as heated of a rivalry that this is it has become. You still got to get that sports entertainment in there. You still got to get that silly wackiness in there. And for him to shoot on a plant, a broken plant, demolished plant, is as sports entertainment as it gets. But he got in there, he got out. But like again, this is best heel work. I really think some of his best heel work of all time. There's a moment in his promo where you hear a guy from a distance like, Jericho, you suck. And he kind of stops and looks at the person. You could tell that like he's completely got Jericho's attention. And he looks at the guy. I thought that was hilarious. But at the same time, very, very heelish, where it's like, I don't know, you kind of break the fourth wall a little bit, but like there is this sense of seriousness to Jericho in this feud, and I thought that was like an added touch. It's like, Jericho, you suck. He just stopped and looked at the guy. I could only imagine that dude was like kind of heart skipped the beat a little bit because he's thinking that there's no way that me saying this is going to get his attention, and sure enough, it did. And then Big Cass shows up, right? You hear the music. And, I'm thinking, is Enzo back? That's the first thing I'm like, is he going to come out there backpedaling and shuffling and shit? But nope, we get another week of just Big Cass. And it blew me away. Because, you know why, folks? He's in the opening segment. The opening segment. I was kind of blown away. I was like, wait a minute. This is an opening segment, dog. And he's out there with Chris Jericho. Of all things. So, a couple of weeks back, I'm talking about how, man, Big Cass, with I guess after the injury to Enzo, all I could think was, man, Cass is kind of a fish out of water right now. He really needs his mouthpiece in Enzo Amore to continue to get him over. But last week, he came out, he did what he had to do, and he was over as hell. This week he came out, he did what he had to do, and he was over as hell. And again, this is the opening segment, folks. The opening segment is designated for the likes of your John Cena's and your McMahons and your Roman Reigns and your Seth Rollins and your Randy Ortons and your Big Shows and your Canes. I mean, we're talking about, you don't get too much variation in the opening segments. And Jericho, he can open up a segment, but he hasn't been doing it recently. But for him to come out, okay, all right, okay. But then Big Cass would come out. This is a big deal. This is the big stage. This is when people tune in to see if they're gonna stick around or not. They threw that motherfucker out there by himself, without Enzo. So I'm like, they must got a lot invested in this guy. And it's something I said. I said, man, once you go over all the fucking aspects of this new era, from you Kevin Owens to your Sami Zayns and so on and so forth, the guy with the most potential to really be one of the next big stars is Colin Cassidy. I said this from the jump. He's the one that's going to come out better than everyone, but it's going to take time with his mouthpiece Amore being out now. He's going to have him to build him up. But then it kind of I thought it set him back. And I see Vince going like, you know what, kid? Get out there and show him what you got. And I have to commend him, Vince, or whoever the hell's in the back that decided to send Colin Cassidy out for an opening segment. Anyway. But he was over as fuck. People are behind this guy, man. He steps into the ring because Jericho says a line like, I bring you the gift of me, like drink it up. And Colin comes out, he's like, yo, this is a gift? Well, if this is a gift, I want a receipt, because as soon as I open you up, I'm taking you back to the department store for a refund, which is got a good laugh. But he's talking about the new era, and maybe there should be a drinking game to the whole idea of the new era. Every time they say the new era, you have to take a shot. Dude, by second hour, you'll be fucking wasted. But he's stepping out going, and maybe this is like foreshadowing too, the new era. This is, I'm not here to do a bunch of things. I'm not part of this new era to just be out here. This is a warning, and I've arrived. And I'm like, whoa, dude, there's some big statements in front of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's like, dude, you know the fuck you dealing with? You know the fuck I am? Who the hell are you? He doesn't bury him. He's getting him over by, addressing his status, but not in a way to, demean the guy. Like, get the fuck out of here. Get your dumb ass out of here, You can tell he's a bit intimidated. So, like, the chemistry between the two is working out well because, very much like a ring general, Chris Jericho's a promo general too. And he's in there doing the job. But I've arrived. And then he's like, well, whatever. I've arrived. And he walked into his face. He gets into his face. And Jericho wants to talk. He shuts him up. Again, that's like the second time he shuts him up. And then he's like, you want to fight? Jericho steps off. He acts like he wants to fight. But then he steps off in a heel fashion. And then Kaz spelled it out for him. He told him, call him soft. And he ran back to the ring, Jericho. And he catches the big boot. And that was your opening segment. That was, part one of your opening segment. And I go, wow, that was interesting. It went like 17 minutes. But because it wasn't Stephanie or Shane or like just some other long-winded, same old one-in-the-mill type opener, I thought it was quite refreshing. I enjoyed it. In the back, you have, after the break, you get a reeling Jericho in the back, and he sees Stephanie McMahon, and Stephanie is all of a sudden a fucking face again. The Ambrose Asylum gets canceled for Jericho, for the return of Jericho, right? The highlight reel, right? That's what this first segment was. It was a highlight reel, but he was his own guest, and he goes back to Stephanie, and Stephanie just kind of shits on him. And I just go like, if I was to point out one thing about this show that I didn't like so much, was that. They could have done without that. I don't know why they decided to go that direction, to sort of just have her basically go back on her word after she just buddied up with Chris Jericho. Now, granted, Chris Jericho and Stephanie McMahon does not have a good rapport. ever. Like their entire history has been nothing but them feuding, which was kind of ironic for the fact that she sided with him. But you know how it goes. Again, sports entertainment storylines, this and the other. But maybe it'd have been great if she would have mentioned like, well, you've been an asshole to me as long as we've known each other. So this is me basically like getting you back. Fuck you. You get a match with Big Cass tonight. But that didn't happen. She just sets the match with Cass, and there's no history to it. It would have added something to it. It would have added something interesting or something more fluid to the storyline when you last week sided with him, and now all of a sudden you're shitting on him. Maybe the fucking creator forgot. Let me just get over here to the thing. You stupid idiot. A fame. Yeah, that's kind of hard to read. My favorite heel work from Y2J was in 2009. That was good stuff, but that was heel. Yeah, that was the return of Edge. That was good stuff. He started using the big words and shit. Do you think Ambrose was more serious tonight? I'll get there, Ronnie. Styles Club for life. Kaz doesn't need Enzo. No, Kaz does need Enzo. He really needs Enzo. I mean, like, extremely needs Enzo. Enzo is it's not like he's taking away from Kaz. He actually adds to Kaz. Like, I'm sorry, Enzo's not taking away from Kaz, like Charlotte and Ric Flair. It's not the same dynamic. Those guys are a duo. They're like a duo personified, right? And without Enzo playing off of Kaz can kind of get lost in the shuffle. He can kind of get lost behind now, even though he's out there holding his own right now. The crowd is going to get restless about the return of Enzo, and that could potentially hurt Big Cass. Because even tonight, they were chanting, "Where is Enzo?" They were. You didn't hear it. You had to hear it. So, almost like we want Lana, we want Sasha. It could do him more harm. So, as soon as Enzo can get back in the frame of things, get him back out there, right? Get the babyface pop, use that as a rub for Cass, even more so because he went out there and he did it on his own, so there's potential there. But man, as soon as you can get Cass out there, dude, the better. Pete, if I don't watch Extreme Rules, there's only one way I'm gonna try. Sorry, typo. It's all good, dude. It's all good. So I'm gonna get to this second segment, Ziggler versus Corbin, the match that we all wanted to see. This is a even Stevens booking situation we're dealing with right here. I'll point out two things. Corbin gets a little box. You know how they do the old school box, and he cuts a promo. I was like, yeah, I dug that, Corbin. I still wish he would get away from the whole cool, Big Daddy cool kind of promo, what they tried to do with Roman Reigns kind of shit. I wish they would get away from that. But nevertheless, it fits more with him, but I want him to be a little more edgy. That cool shit just doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Especially you're a big guy, you're trying to put yourself out there as like a big bad dude. You don't need to put yourself out there as a big bad cool dude. I think that kind of gets lost in translation. That's one thing. And Dolph Ziggler and this idea that he's like this baby face, sympathetic baby face, because he's getting screwed by the WWE. I mean, he's not getting that screwed. He's on TV every week. Maybe once on Raw. I mean, once on Raw, definitely on SmackDown. He's not getting screwed. He's not getting buried. He's on TV. If he's losing matches, it's because he did something and because the WWE is not regulated to the degree of how these workers are treated when they do something and the consequences that go along with it. He did something egregious. He tried to holler at John Cena's woman. And even though it was his woman before, but once John Cena touches it, it is John Cena. If John Cena touches anything, it belongs to John Cena. That's just how it goes. And for him to do that shit, he deserves every bit of ribbing he gets. But he's still on TV. But this idea that he's a sympathetic babyface, Dolph Ziggler's getting screwed, like, or this, that, and the other. In the ring, if you pay attention, if you watch the show, he does any and all things heelish in the ring, and it's unwarranted. I don't know why he's keep as pegged as the babyface, especially in this feud against Corbin. He plays possum. He plays fucking possum. What are you doing, Ziggler? What the fuck? That's something that's always bothered me over the past 2 years, since people have just kind of gotten behind Dolph Ziggler because of his high work rate. You know, showstopper type shit. Still the show guy. He's still he does these crazy he grabs the tights, he puts his leg up on the ropes, he low blows, you know what I'm saying? Like he roughs up the refs, you know, like and tonight against a guy that they're trying to get over as a heel, you got fucking you got this guy playing possum. You got to play him possum. And he hits the famouser. It's like what the fuck is that with this heel shit? And almost every roll-up that Dolph Ziggler ever does, he grabs the tights. I wish you would cut that out. And on top of that, on the commentary, you got JBL like one consonant away from saying the word nigger. You know what I'm saying? Zigger this, zigger that. I'm like, dude, you're going to slip up one time, man, and you're going to have your ass Hogan'd. There's a wicked, crazy deep six that Corbin drops on Ziggler. And that should have been the match. It should have been the match. That move was incredible. And it came down, it looked great. It came down hard. And with this whole variation of how you beat someone, because Dolph Ziggler, I think, has beaten people with, like, you know, a bunch of things, especially the super kick as of late. Like, he just get a surprise super kick for the win. Outside of the, you know, the famouser never pins anybody, but the zigzag, you know, like switch it up a little bit. AJ Styles, the calf crusher, you know, he's tried to hit Styles Clash, but now the phenomenal forearm. I feel like that deep six could be just as much as a alternate of a finisher for Baron Corbin than, say, the End of Days, because it's moments like this. And the one that he hit on Ziggler, that should have been a 3 count. I don't give a shit what anyone says. But he does hit the End of Days. The End of Days is a really cool move. I mean, it's one of those moves that come out of nowhere. He gets him in it, he rocks him, puts him to sleep. So Corbin gets his win back, and now they're gonna do an even Stevens booking going into Extreme Rules. And I don't know which way they're going to go. It's a very sticky situation where, you know, does Ziggler just beat off the baby? Not beat off the baby. Does Ziggler go over on the heel? Corbin is young. You don't want him to lose so soon like that. So, I mean, I would say if I was to give like my pre-predictions and stuff, you know, thinking what could happen, I have no idea what direction they're going to go in with Corbin and Ziggler. 70% of me moves towards that Corbin's going to go over as Ziggler just goes off the beat, goes on to the next mid-card heel. And Corbin sort of goes on to another mid-card babyface. Maybe starts a program with one of the upstarts, one of the newer people coming up. or maybe from NXT, maybe maybe somebody, but like you never know with these things. You never know with these things. Um, this is the moment where you get a bunch of backstage stuff. You get Shane with the flares, and Charlotte wants Shane to reverse the ruling that Stephanie made to keep Ric Flair out, to keep Ric Flair from being at ringside at Extreme Rules, and he won't do it. He won't reverse the call, and not only um, won't he reverse the call, he's also barring Ric Flair from ringside tonight, and then that's a situation. By the way, Little Nate's nowhere to be found. Charles Robinson nowhere to be found tonight. You get JoJo in the back with the club. They're calling them the club now. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's just like, come on, man. Like, I see it. I see it. But man, you really gotta go there like that. You really gotta go there. The club. Like, oh yeah, you're fucking with us hardcore fans. Yet again, the club. Oh, that's so hilarious. Um, but he talks about last week about how he didn't want to waste Reigns, and as soon as he got caught with his guard down, he gets attacked, almost making himself into the victim. It's like, well, fuck that now. You give me another opportunity to put that motherfucker in his place, I'm totally doing it. His boys beat me up with a chair. He throws me through the ring now, to the announce table, which was pretty wicked, by the way. Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna whoop his ass. There's not a road high ever anymore. There's no more high road. It's all low road, moving forward, basically. And the club is officially back together. Whew. Oh boy. Now let's go into to comments and questions. Yeah, okay. Byron needs a haircut. Yes, but here's the thing. Something this is from the True Reactor. Something that I've realized is that receding hairline, as a heel, works in Baron Corbin's favor. It really does. It makes him look sleazy. And I think it backs up his gimmick for now. It backs up his gimmick for now. Dolph, your time is up. My time is now. That ass belongs to me right now. Do you think that Dolph Nikki storyline yes, it was real. It was very real. It was very real. And what backs it up the most is how Dolph Ziggler has fallen from grace. I don't know if you listen to the Solid Monster Sounds Off, but this Sunday, he gives the story of JTG and how John C. how he mentioned something in the WWE magazine about hustle, loyalty, and respect or something, and he knew he did something wrong. This is in his book. He knew he did something wrong, so he went to the writer and said, "Hey man, take that part out. Look the other way, whatever." The writer forgets to take it out. John Cena reads it and it's like, "Hey man, I read the interview, good interview. But what's up with that? Using basically my line." And it's like, "Oh man, I asked him to take it out. I apologize." And John Cena's like, "That's okay, but you're gonna have to be punished." And apparently he was gonna get his own sort of Bret the Hitman Hart inspired glasses, and John Cena had that taken off. He had it taken off. The WWE shop. He said, "This is gonna be your repercussion for trying to be a smartass." So I imagine something as simple as the use of his tagline in an obscure, like, whatever throwaway interview with like some, at the time, even some jobber in JTG. I think he had already fell from grace by then. And taking someone's merchandise off the racks, that's major shit. Let alone someone trying to get his girl back, because Dolph Ziggler, he knows what it's all about. He knows what it's all about. And the fact that it used to be his girl anyway gave him incentive, to go after it. There's a 50-50 chance on camera. Is Nikki going to be like, yes or no? I mean, that show could have easily turned into a Dolph Ziggler, Nikki Bella reunion. And it could have worked out for Dolph Ziggler. Maybe. Well, he has a girl. But it didn't work out that way. And the audacity to forego the fact that there's cameras following you around, it's just pure idiocy. It's just dumb. So, yes, the storyline is real. Just whatever the fuck's happened. They say it was his concussion, whatever against Jack Swagger where he lost. Like, maybe. But moving forward, it had everything to do with John Cena. And it's almost, I don't know if you remember, this was like when AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler was an item on TV. And then all of a sudden, AJ Lee and John Cena are making out, right? That was not a work and storyline. That was a shoot. That was around the time where Dolph Ziggler was losing Nikki Bella to John Cena, and they did a shoot storyline on that by making AJ Lee the girl that John Cena was taking. And Dolph Ziggler was completely fucking upset to the point where he beat him up in the locker room and football tackling him through the stalls. It was intense stuff. So to answer your question, Ronnie, yes, this thing has legs. It has legs. Yeah, that Deep Six was too fucking sweet. It was amazing. I think he went an extra rotation. Why not the Styles Club? Because I think the WWE is being kind of juvenile about this. They're toying with the hardcore fans. We're going to just call it the club. We're going to toy with these internet dudes, these internet marks, these know-it-alls. We're going to dabble with that word. We know it comes from the Bullet Club. We got the Balor Club. The club. Like, let's poke at them more, because the more we pick at them, we're gonna drive them crazy. And I told you before, man, if you watch my fucking podcast, you listen to my podcast, something I told you already, and I said this, man. The WWE has their own storyline for the club, or for the Bullet Club. They have their own storyline, and they're going to do it their way. Now, right now, what we have right here is probably the closest to a Bullet Club storyline as it gets. But that's going to be it. And the WWE, again, is going to move forward with what they already have planned for already this recognized to the indie guys, smart marks like me and you, to us, to fuck with us. So for them to use the club and not the Styles Club or anything like that, is a total rib on us. They're not a good club or a bad club. It's silly. Hey Peter, what's your thoughts on Dana Brooks' debut? I'm gonna get there, baby. I'm gonna get there, Keita. By the way, Keita's in the house. Tomorrow, I will be on the Keita and Jay show. I will be their special guest Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I think they're going live. Mixler. If you have a Mixler account, be sure to tune in live. for the Keita, Peta, and Jay show. It's going to be some fun stuff. And I think maybe I'll run it as a simulcast. Maybe I won't. I still haven't really decided yet. But I will get to the Dana Brooke debut. I will definitely get to that, Keita. So we get Truth versus Fandango. The only thing that stands out here is Truth has new gold tips in his hair. Dude, I don't care. Truth wins, and again, that extends the storyline. Um, it extends the storyline to whatever this Golden Truth thing is. I feel like it's going to get serious at some point. Maybe Extreme Rules. Maybe R-Truth loses it and just destroys everyone. I hope that's the case. That would be real fun. But then you get the Intercontinental guys in the back. I just call them the IC guys. You're The Miz, Kevin Owens, and Cesaro. All of them feel that Miz thinks he deserves. No one deserves a title shot. Owens deserves his rematch clause, and Cesaro thinks that he deserves another try because how everything went down in his match at Payback. And the McMahons are trying to figure out how to do it. And then Sami Zayn shows up, and he's like, now fuck that. I want in on this too. I deserve just as much go at this Intercontinental belt as everyone else. And he offers up the match. He's in there going like he's basically plot his own destiny by saying, look, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to face The Miz. If I beat him, we're making a fatal four-way. And McMahon's agree. And that was just the first hour. I'm going to try to speed through this. Flair versus Paige. And they brought Flair versus Paige. Again, Paige is dealing with her bullshit, so she's kind of been knocked down a notch. But you keep forgetting. You got to remember, folks, as much as you think that she's jobbing out, like she is jobbing out, but I think they can't, in her situation or whatever court case she has going, they can't put her in the forefront. They can't. They just can't. It's almost like the reverse psychology to a Hillary Clinton presidential run while under FBI investigation. You know? Like, run next year. Like, you are under a FBI investigation and you're running for president? You're an idiot. And the same for this. It's like, all right, she's not in a good place for a good look. Let's get her the fuck off TV. I mean, we still can use her, but like, let's not focus on her and focus on the other girl. She's going to get her day. But this match itself wasn't about the outcome as much as it is about what to look forward to. And they mentioned PCB because, again, Flair and Paige with this crew called PCB with Becky Lynch. And I go, holy fuck. I completely forgot about that. And for good reason. But, what is it? Oh, yeah, and very much like the Natty match that was in, I think that was in Los Angeles. The crowd was over, like they were over as fuck during this match. Over as fuck. Now, we get another overproduced finish with Ric Flair coming out, and then Shane McMahon. Does his music have to hit? Why did his music have to hit? I thought that was pretty weird. His music didn't really have to hit, but he walks out with the referees to go get Ric Flair, and all this stuff's going on, and Paige gets the distraction roll up 1, 2, 3. Boom. She beats the champ. But as much, again, this isn't about a win for Paige, but I think it's something to look forward to when she does get her big run again. Gets her big push again, where it's like, well, the last time we saw Paige, she beat the women's champion. Like she's probably and that'd be her in to whoever gets the belt, and the possibility of Paige actually having a title shot. Yeah, Charlotte is connecting. Charlotte is connecting, and her matches are connecting with the crowd. It's phenomenal. I haven't been a big fan of Charlotte's work, and I will admit that she's getting much better. But for the most part, and what she's doing as a heel, just as a heel character, she's connecting, and that's what you want. When she comes out there, the crowd is going just as crazy as a Roman Reigns match or something, or AJ Styles, or like a Kevin Owens match, and that's a good thing. That's a healthy thing. No, we want Sasha chance, none of that shit. Like she's holding her own right now, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But Paige does get the win. We get The Miz versus Zayn in another super competitive match. The Miz, I swear to God, I can't put The Miz over enough. Now, I completely imagine everyone's like, well, Sami Zayn is the ring general, and I get it. He is. But The Miz, it takes two to tango. And Miz ain't no slouch. He's been with the company for quite some time, and he's been wrestling in the ring, whether on TV or the house shows or what have you, for quite some time, day in and day out. This guy is getting better. And his last month, this has been the month of The Miz, honestly, once you think about it. His matches have been excellent. They've been excellent. Even his match on SmackDown against Zack Ryder was fucking fantastic. So I don't want to hear that garbage. And even on the microphone, I mean, the guy's just doing some of his best heel work too. Just like Jericho, right? He gets it. He's connected to the crowd. The crowd wants to see him get his ass whooped. I don't know. You can talk. You can sing the praises of Sami Zayn all you want, but I'm singing the praises of Miz just as much. All right, and I'll just leave it at that. The Haluva kick to win 101. He beats the champion. It should have been the championship match. Ain't that a motherfucker? So yeah, it becomes a fatal four-way going into Extreme Rules. Young in the back with Becky Lynch, and she's talking about how Emma beat her last week or what have you, because she thumbed her in the eye, what have you. Emma shows up as like, not only should you have your eyes good on the front, but you should have eyes in the back of you. And I stopped fucking Dana Brooke. There's Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke. Goddamn Dana Brooke. The only thing they fucked up, though, is that they didn't zoom in on who she was. Right? At first, I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, well, who the hell is that? Who could that be? And when I saw that it was Dana Brooke, and I guess we're not talking about Dana Brooke either going to the main roster or not. All we know is that she's been off NXT because she's been hurt. She's been injured. And I'm thinking, okay, Emma's up. It's a shame that she can't have Dana Brooke. I wasn't a big Dana Brooke fan at first. Then she started to grow on me. And then she had that match with Asuka. And then her character has just been off the charts since then. Right? You fast forward to now, and I go, thank God that she's on the main roster right now. I don't know how soon she'd be to action, but it's kind of odd to see Emma out there do her intro without having Dana Brooke by her side. The work they did down at NXT was fantastic. The feud with Asuka was fantastic. The creation of Evil Emma is fantastic. The creation of even more so this snooty, snobby, holier than thou, better than you, in its own way. In its own way, Dana Brooke. When she gets back into the ring, we'll see, how it goes down. But for the most part, I am extremely happy that Dana Brooke is on the main roster. And she's the type of person that is so needed. Because, you talk about charisma. let's go down the list of divas, or women's wrestlers, right? They kind of struggle in the charisma. I mean, it's like months and years of like working on their charisma and their promos and like how they connect to the fans to get heat or to get cheered. Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, who even though she's a white meat baby face, she could be. It's kind of hard to connect with her, and it's not because of her language. I just think that she's a little too hokey for her own good sometimes. Charlotte Flair, I mean, even though she's pedigree, she still needed to work on her shit. Sasha Banks, yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen that before. So it doesn't really come off as genuine. And everyone is as much as a big old Sasha fan. I'm not as big of a Sasha fan. I mean, I appreciate her, but like if I was to pick one girl that I was like, she's a star. Like she got this. That it took no training for her to be a bitch, right? It's fucking Dana Brooke. She's fantastic. And again, I say this without beating a dead horse. Her and Emma are like a match made in heaven. You can't beat that. You can't beat that duo. Just like Kaz and Enzo, just like Brock and Heyman. Like, keep these two together as long as you can till you get heat on one to where they can actually go in and probably have like a big pay-per-view match down the road somewhere. But until then, kudos for whoever the fuck pulled the plug or, gave the okay to send Dana Brooke to the main roster. Emma is gonna be. This is so good for Emma, and this is good for Dana. But again, I don't know how she feels right now. She sent out she knocked down somebody, so I guess she's all right. But yeah, Dana Brooke called up. We get the Make Darren Young Great Again that debuted on the SmackDown last week. Again, I watched the first half of SmackDown and then I didn't watch the second half. I didn't do a review. Again, I apologize. There'll be one up this weekend, being that I probably won't be DJing, so a lot of my fucking time is back. But yeah, Make Darren Young Great Again. He's reached out to Bob Backlund to be his life coach. He's his wrestling coach. So, I got the wrestling down. I need a life coach. He's, well, I ain't never been no life coach. It's like, well, let's try to make it work anyway. Bob Backlund, rule number 1, wrestling is life. And that's, I should make a t-shirt that says wrestling is life. I should make a t-shirt. That's gold. Now, again, I remember hearing about Darren Young pairing up with Backlund to make this. I was just surprised they didn't get at Pat Patterson. Now, if they would have got Pat Patterson out there to be Darren Young's life coach, now we're cooking. Now we're fucking cooking. I'm wrong. I'm wrong in a motherfucker for saying it. But you know what? Fuck it. It's a new era. It's a new time. And I think maybe us smarties would catch on to this. But man, if they would have actually paired those two up like that, that would have been gold. But Bob Backlund's awesome. This crazy Bob Backlund is even nada. I thought we were gonna get like a straight up down down. That's Xavier Woods' YouTube show. That's actually eating up the WWE web YouTube page. I thought they were going to have an actual segment, but it turned into a fucking Pizza Hut segment. What have you. Still funny, but nevertheless. Where are we over here? When Ambrose... Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. We get Shane and Ryder in the back, and I guess they're talking about something. And Owen showed up in protest of making it available to Sami Zayn to be part of the Fatal 4-Way. He wasn't happy about that. Shane again puts Owens in his place by putting him in a match with Zack Ryder, and in the fact that if Zack Ryder actually wins this match, that he would replace Owens in the Fatal 4-Way. Like that was gonna fucking happen. Usos in the back. They talk about the upcoming match. They shoot on beating Styles for the whatever. Yeah, you do. It's just yeah. I don't have much to say about it. It's basically them just getting hyped up, building up the suspense between to when they finally get to the match. I need to speed through this shit. Sin Cara versus Rusev. Okay, I didn't agree with this. I did not agree with this whatsoever. Sin Cara versus Rusev. Sin Cara wins. Rusev just becomes the number one contender, right? He won a over-the-top battle royal to be the number one contender for the U.S. belt. You got Kalisto, who's white meat babyface, this and the other. He's been mentioned a lot, Eddie Guerrero. You never know with these fucking things. Because Eddie Guerrero is lie, cheat, steal kind of thing. This ending was some bullshit to me. Why the fuck is Kalisto cheating? Why the fuck is Kalisto cheating? Why is he trying to draw a distraction? Hey, and why the fuck is Lana getting into the ring? That was weird. I never understood that. That was poorly executed, but nevertheless, Kalisto cheating for Sin Cara to get the roll up just didn't work for me. I hope Rusev beat his ass. Cheating ass. Lie, still cheat. I guess he's becoming Guerrero. He's becoming Eddie. But I didn't like it. I thought that was stupid. And then you get the main event, which isn't the main event. I'm like, oh my God, they're putting this out there now, and it makes sense. Just because you're last on the card or last at the show makes you the main event. The main event is when the moment it's time and it's the hottest. So you get the club versus the family. What the fuck am I at? A damn Subway? I want a Jimmy John's? I'll take the club. What do you want? I'll have the family. The fuck? Am I sounding negative? We get the 6-on-6 elimination tag. Okay. Jay Uso is eliminated by Carl Anderson. Anderson is eliminated by Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso is eliminated by Styles during the commercial break. Gallows is eliminated by a Superman punch. Anderson, which leads, because it was Roman Reigns versus Gallows and Styles. When Gallows gets that Superman punch and goes out, you get the one-on-one between AJ Styles and Roman Reigns. But then it spills outside, and then Anderson returns with Gallows with a steel chair, causing DQ. Then the Usos return, and then there's a big old brawl. You get spears to Doc and Carl. You get the phenomenal forearm into a Styles Clash attempt. It's probably the best attempt he's had since. And then to the point where a chair is sitting in the middle of the ring as Styles is on the outside of the ropes and Roman Reigns is inside the ring, and he gives AJ Styles the chair. It's like, well, you do something with it. But AJ Styles kicks the chair, and then he goes up to hit the phenomenal elbow, which he misses, and then he sort of like rolls out the ring, and there's another stare down, and that's moving forward. I say this. That was a good time. That was a good fucking time. That was a great time. That was a great time. My shit's dying, so I need to move through this faster. That was an amazing time. This is Roman Reigns' best feud. Period. This is his best feud. Out of all the feuds this guy's been in, this is ideal. And the fact that he's teamed up with his cousins, the Usos, you got the club, the Bullet Club, what have you. This is fun. You got the crowd screaming, "Let's go AJ, let's go Roman." This is what you want out of this guy. This is what you want out of this entire situation. Now this could have been a shitty situation. It could have been, especially with the overbooking of what happened at Payback. But my God, they got that shit working on all cylinders now. This is fun as shit. This is a fun feud. It's mid-cardy as hell. That's the crazy part. It feels like a mid-card feud. This isn't scream super main event. But I think at some point they can come back to this at some point. I think they can probably after this they could sort of leave each other and then come back at some point where it's like the history is there and now it's more of a big deal, so it doesn't smell and sound so or come off and look so mid-cardy. I think this has a legitimate chance to be a WrestleMania main event. Right now, it is fun as hell. You can't tell me you didn't have a good time watching this motherfucker. You couldn't. And then after that, you get the death spot, man. And I felt bad for Kevin Owens. I felt bad for Zack Ryder. I felt so bad for those guys to have to like get the come down of the Omaha crowd after all of that fucking chaos and mayhem that just lasted like 15 minutes. It was like 15 minutes of like utter chaos and mayhem and craziness. A elimination tag into a big old brawl until like this really intense end. It's like, man, bathroom break. I need a cigarette. You know, like a whole bunch of all that shit going on. And here comes Zack Ryder, of all people, and Kevin Owens, who's doing any and everything possible to keep the crowd interested in his match. And kudos to him, and kudos to the crowd. Omaha didn't give up on those guys. They didn't give up on those guys. Remember, the stipulation was if Zack Ryder won, he would take Owens' spot in the Fatal 4-Way. But he lose to I like to call a Rainmaker powerbomb. Rather than throw him to the ropes, he just kind of slings him out like a dance partner and then brings him back in for the pop-up powerbomb, very much like Okada's Rainmaker, where he just kind of yo-yos you out and brings you in for a big old like super lariat, turns you inside out. But Owens wins, and I thought it was a really good spot, and kudos, Zack Ryder is getting a lot of television time. I'm just saying. You get Kaz in the back with Young, and he cuts his promo. Again, he's over, dude. He's over. People like him. And he dedicates the match to Enzo. Yeah, man. It's all right. New Day versus the Dudleys. The Vaudevillains show up with a distraction, and Devon clotheslines the living shit out of Kofi Kingston for the win. Another one of those cases where it's not about the Dudleys getting the win as much as the follow-up to the feud between the Vaudevillains and the New Day. The Vaudevillains had a box box thing too, and they cut a really good promo in there, and I just thought it was good. New Day promo at the beginning. The only thing that I think stunk up the place was them backtracking on calling out the Vaudevillains for representing a time that was racist. And I don't know how Omaha, Nebraska feels. Maybe they don't like to hear the past, but they started booing. And I don't think it was a boo in terms of they represent racism. I think it was like boo, like why do you have to bring that up, bro? That and you know, I already have issues with them kind of moving their gimmick, kind of moving from one end of the spectrum to the next in terms of like them kind of they're like a minstrel show now, but they totally, I don't know. I just feel like if you're gonna go that race route, you go the race route, have fun with it, but don't like stick your toe between your legs to make someone happy. And that really did piss me off. But yeah, the Vaudevillains picked the bones of Kofi Kingston and hit him with the whirling dervish. Next week, again, we'll see what kind of retribution or what kind of what kind of stipulations we get going into their number one contender. Well, the tag team, the tag team championship match for Extreme Rules. We only see next week. Well, what's going to go on with that? And then we get to our main event. And I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, but as soon as I saw that he was going to get a match, I was like, I don't think he's ready to go up against Chris Jericho quite yet. I mean, you give him the opening spot, but you can't get him in a main event spot against Jericho. He just ain't ready. He ain't ready. Whew. And sure enough, when Jericho comes out, it takes a while for him to come down. You see the jacket, which I thought was a really cool visual. Of all of a sudden just seeing like conflict with the jacket and the lights of the jacket and the movement of the jacket. Yeah, it was interesting. I thought it was pretty cool. But Ambrose, who wasn't supposed to be there tonight, he's in the building. He's in Jack Jericho, and he's got his hands on the jacket, and he proceeds to destroy the jacket. Because last week we find out that we find out the cost of Jericho's, I want to say Y2J, that his jacket is $15,000. And I'm like, here comes the gimmick coming soon. And I'm like, that'd be a shame because that's a really awesome jacket. I don't want to see that jacket destroyed. That jacket's awesome. But that's what we get tonight. Ambrose's revenge on Mitch is destroying Chris Jericho's lit jacket. But at first, he gets it, he rips it. Jericho gets it back, he tries to leave. Kaz cuts him off at the pass. He slaps Kaz. Kaz roughs him up, throws him back into the ring with the jacket, and Ambrose grabs the jacket and proceeds to destroy the rest of it. And then after that, we get the McMahons. They couldn't have just left that the way it was. They had to get the McMahons, and they're just basically like jerking each other off. Stephanie is jacking off Shane, and Shane is fingering fucking Stephanie, and they couldn't help themselves to be on TV. And that's all I say about that. But I thought that's how they was going to go off the air. But they go off the air with Chris Jericho screaming to bloody hell that his jacket was $15,000 and it had been destroyed. So, eye for an eye, potted plant for a lit up jacket. And that's the show. I mean, I only got like 8% left on this, so I'm going to go ahead and see what you got here for me last. Okay, when Ambrose took Jericho's jacket, I thought it was Nakamura because of the weird movement Nakamura and Jericho have beat on Twitter. We're not going to be talking about Nakamura on that main roster anytime soon. It's going to be after, I would say, get him in for Survivor Series. Yeah, Survivor Series is Nakamura. And if I was to make a comment on my bold prediction, I'll probably mention it tomorrow. My bold prediction is when Finn Balor shows up, I don't think he's going to have any affiliation with what they got going on with AJ Styles and Doc Gallows. I think he's going to be the first opponent to a returning John Cena. That's my bold prediction moving forward. And if you're listening, or watching the show, Keita, I'm gonna be bringing this up tomorrow. All right, Rusev should have destroyed the Sin Cara guy. I don't know. Again, for them to cheat in the end, it just says a lot. What they got planned for Sin Cara and or Kalisto moving forward. They had him cheat. So, who's to say what's going to happen with Rusev in the match in Extreme Rules? Later, bro, I gotta take a swig of fucking water and go to sleep. I need a swig of fucking beer and play some records. This place playing some records tonight, so I thought, as pissy as I've been over the past 2 days. I could go get some Bootios, and I ain't talking to kayfabe cereal. I'm talking some Bootio. I'm gonna relieve my stress by playing some old hip hop records. That's what I'm going to do. And yeah, again, I enjoyed this show, man. If I was to give it a grade, I'd give it a 9. I give it a 9. I give it an A minus. The Sakara thing sucked. Stephanie McMahon sucked. I mean, the McMahon's at the end of the night. Why you mad? What do you mean? Why am I mad? I ain't mad. But like, yeah, I thought this was a great. I thought this was a great show. An A minus. I give it an A minus. And yeah, I'll end it like this. I'll wait for Keita's response on me not being mad. But until I get that, I guess it's like a little delay, maybe like 30-second delay. Hit the subscription. If you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, add me to your playlist. Again, this is live. Every week, the programming is this. Peter's Raw Recap. Peter Talks Wrestling. Peter Talks SmackDown. That's on Saturdays. Saturday, Peter Talks SmackDown. Oh, wrong person. Oh, okay. Yes. So I will get to episode 59 of Peter Talks SmackDown this week, okay? Again, Peter's Raw Recap, Peter Talks Wrestling, episode 3, maybe a simulcast of the Peter and Jay show. Or I'll just, pick a topic and just go off on it with some wrestling news attached. So you can find me on Twitter, LINJAPANESC. That's Ellen Japanese. Also PJTW Central. Subscribe, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. I don't care which way, just as long as you had enough passion to push the button. You can find me on Instagram too, on the Ellen Japanese. Mixer Live, 8 o'clock. Don't be late. I won't. But I got to get my tacos. So I'll probably have to get my tacos afterwards, after the show. I just don't want to be talking till, I want a 3-hour show. Give me a good hour, 30 minutes, hour, 45 minutes, up to 2 hours to talk to y'all motherfuckers. And then I got to go. All right? But it's going to be fun. I can't wait. Anything else? No, that's about it. Go back and check out previous videos and check out or if you're on the RSS feed, check out other uploads and what have you. The next time you will see me or hear from me, if you tune in to Mixler Live for the Keita and Jay show, you catch me then. But rather than that, you'll catch me for episode 3 of Peter Talks Wrestling. I haven't quite come up with what I'm gonna talk about. Maybe I'll talk about the whole Ryback thing, because last week's touched on that a little. It wasn't as specific, but they went hand in hand. They really did go hand in hand in terms of the WWE being this big corporation of employees that put their bodies in harm's way to have absolutely no regulation. Whatever Vince decided he wants to. All right. And I only come back. My shit. What's it? Anything else? Anything else before I go? Just to make sure. Basically, I came back to say goodbye. Shit shut down on me. So, all right. Peace, guys. Watch out for the foreign object.